What is going on, guys? First of all, huge thanks to Rogue Node for the super chat. We were just opening up. We really appreciate that. It said it's the first time he's catching the show live, so that is awesome. Welcome, and definitely a huge thank you to that. So
much appreciated.
If you haven't seen the show yet, my name is Sean. That's Tyler over there. We are Rendered Reality. We do this show called Coffee and VR every Saturday morning that we love to do. We kind of just talk about all kinds of VR news, stuff going on, new games, hardware. Today is a kind of a special episode. We have the developers of Holoception coming on later in the show, so we're really looking forward to that. We got some fun stuff planned for that. So,
yeah, well, we have a ton of stuff to go over too of what happened this past week. I know with yourself and myself, we even got tons of hardware stuff to talk about, which is really cool. I was always excited to get new stuff in the studio.
So we actually both got new stuff.
So I'm excited.
Yeah, we both got new stuff. Do you want to start with that? We'll start with what we got this last week and what we've been kind of playing around with. So do you want to start us off? Yours is a little bit a little bigger, more exciting than mine, I think. Just a smidge.
It is a little bigger. I will say that. Not in a price or anything else, but maybe in size, because it's kind of crazy. I never thought something this big would be this light. But I'll give you guys a little sneak of it here. I don't know if you guys might know what that is.
Is that a hammerhead shark?
It is. That's what it feels like. It feels like a hammerhead shark. But yeah, this is the Pimax. It is the 5K plus. And the lenses on this thing, unbelievable. I mean, the first thing pulling this thing out of the box, I was just blown away by how big the lenses are. Especially, I just came from using a Quest. I was using the Quest earlier, which this was 2 nights ago. I was actually in the Post Malone concert while some stuff was updating and downloading. And man, going from that to this, the lenses are just crazy. I mean, they're the size of my coffee cup.
Yeah, turn that thing around. Let us see them things.
Yeah,
we probably won't be able to see
really
it, but it's just all lens. I mean, it's all
I mean,
lens.
you can see it is all lens. It's unbelievable. But yeah, I did end up picking that up. And because I started to get worried about it and I read a ton on them, I did pick up a deluxe audio strap too. Nice. So those are to go on. I haven't even done that yet. I have had the headset on and I've played through it. It's crazy. It really, I'm pretty blown away.
So what about that field of view compared with the Index? Because you have the Index as well.
Man, yeah. So
I mean,
is
it a huge increase? Because the Index is already a bigger field of view, and I haven't used the Pimax myself. I'm going to have to get to your house to check this thing out.
So typically I wear glasses a lot of the times too. The Index to me is like perfect lineup with my glasses, right? So going though to the Pimax, it's like way past that. I mean, I think everyone's saying around 170 degrees, it's not the actual 200 that they claim, but we all know that have played VR or have had different headsets, 10 degrees can make a world of difference, can feel huge.
Yeah.
So, when I'm now going from like 130 to 170, that's huge, Yeah, it really is. I'm impressed with it. Headset wise, the rest of it, I'm not, everyone's complaining about the build quality of them and stuff. I kind of like it because it's so light. There's so much there and it's so big. I thought it was going to be heavy, but it's actually really light. And just with the stock strap, it's not horrible. So once I put the deluxe audio strap on, I know what it's going to to I'm excited for that.
Hopefully that'll make a pretty big improvement. So, but that is awesome.
And actually, I just said something in chat. They were talking about having a 3D printer, and I already printed out all the parts for it too. So I have all the parts to assemble to put together now for the deluxe audio strap. So that's kind of nice too.
Nice,
which happens fast.
I just put my deluxe audio strap back on my Quest, so it is back on.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, the thing that I picked up this week that I was pretty excited about is the Subpac M2X. So that is actually it's basically like a backpack kind of thing that you wear, and it lets you feel the bass line and stuff. It just plugs in through audio, and it lets you feel a lot of the stuff. So I've only played it with a couple things. I did it with Asgard's Wrath a little bit, tried it with Beat Saber, Contractors. I'm trying to think of what else, but I mean, it's awesome, especially like in Contractors. I was playing around and throwing a grenade in Contractors and feeling that go off. I mean, and you feel every gunshot. I mean, it's really cool. It really does add to the experience. They're kind of pricey for what it is, I feel, but
sure.
But it is really, really cool. So I look forward to doing some more with that.
But that little bit of immersion, just like we always talk about, adds so much.
It's just that one more sense. It gets that one more sense into VR, and it really does. And I also want to try it with the racing seat, like some car games and stuff like that. I don't know if I'm going to wear it and then go in the seat or put it on the seat. I'm not sure yet, but I do want to check that out. Didn't you have a picture?
I know there may be some people that don't even know what a Subpac is.
Yeah, I did grab a picture.
They sold 2 different iterations in this, right? they sold one that was, didn't they sell a standalone one and then a backpack, or am I wrong about that?
Yeah,
I know
they have
two
one that
different
goes on a chair. I don't even know where I put that picture now. We did it right before we went live. But yeah, so let me see if I can I'll pull up the website. But
yeah,
there was one that went on like a chair or something like that, and then there's also one that you wear, and I got the one that you wear. So this is the M2X. I'm not sure.
And a lot of people say that it's really good for audio too. Like people who are, into just listening to music say it's amazing.
Right.
I know one of the guys over on our Discord and stuff that DJs, I bet he would love something like this. I mean, just those little things, But I mean, I guess if you're DJing, I mean, I've got 2 double 15 towers beside me. So, I mean, you're feeling it anyways, but I guess with headphones, you don't. So,
right.
If you're in an apartment or something, it's a different story.
Yeah. So this is it here. You can kind of see it. It's basically it's like a slim backpack that goes on. It's actually sold out in a lot of places right now, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. It does.
There.
Well, and I'm the one that, maybe I shouldn't say too much. I'll let that part go. I had some ideas for it too, but yeah, I've been wanting to play with it too. So maybe next time you're around or I come down to see you, I'll get to try it myself.
Yeah, we'll get the Pimax and the Subpac going. But I also got the MRTV exclusive coffee mug as well. So I'll be enjoying my coffee out of that. Says make VR great again. And it's a big cup too, which I really like. It's bigger than my other cup, so that's pretty awesome. But
yeah, that is. Oh man, I want you to try the Pimax. I'm just so excited for you to try it. Like you have no idea.
I am looking forward to it for sure.
And it's got its little things, but I mean, I'll get into that. I don't have that much experience with it yet. I'd love to sit here and compare and stuff at the moment, but I haven't been able to yet.
And I've still been playing with
once or twice.
I've still been playing with the Cosmos some this week, and there was actually another update that just came out. It was a controller update, and that did seem to help a little bit more again. So they are making improvements. It keeps getting a little bit better and a little bit better, but it's still. I think it's still got a long ways to go. I'm still not super excited about it. And, when I go to jump into VR, that's not the headset I reach for. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't even, sometimes I mean, I don't know. It's just frustrating too. A lot of the games still aren't working with it and stuff, but it is getting there. They are making improvements, and that's definitely a plus. So, and
Steve XM in chat was asking, is there any latency to the Subpac? And I think you said there was a little bit with the
only
Bluetooth.
If Bluetooth,
correct?
Yeah. And I'm not sure if there's a way out that I can eliminate some of that, but if you plug it in, because basically it has an in and an out on the module that's on it. So you plug the audio from your headset into that pack, and then a cable from that to your headphones. If you do it that way, there's no latency at all, and it's like perfectly in time with everything. The Bluetooth I need to figure out a little bit, because I do get some latency with the Bluetooth, and I'm not sure if I can adjust that somehow or figure that out. But I'll play with that some more. But lately I've just been plugging it in. And one thing that we actually have been lucky enough to play some this week on the Quest is Contractors.
Oh yeah.
Which I really wanted to try to get a video footage for that, but the problem is right now there's barely anybody has the build right now. So it's really hard to find people to play with, and there's not bots in this build yet. So I just kind of went into the shooting range and messed around, but it works awesome. It looks really good. It runs smooth. The gunplay is good. You can still slide. You still have a gun stock calibration, which I'm so glad that they brought over from the PC game to the Quest, because I was using my Protube, the mag tube.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's awesome. So good start on that. I don't know when that's coming out.
I actually got to play with a couple people, which was really exciting for me. But I had a little bit of, it seemed like, accuracy issues. Now, I don't know. I just felt like, and maybe it was the gun I was using. Maybe it was, I think I had an M4 and usually I run an M16. Then I changed it up. But I don't know. I felt like it was a little off to me. Something about it.
Tracking wise?
No, I don't think it was tracking though.
So
I don't think it was.
Were you using? Were you using the iron sights, or did you put on like a red dot or a holographic?
I tried both.
Because I did have some trouble with the iron sights, but putting on the holographic sight, I felt pretty on. Once I got the gun stock calibrated in and stuff, it felt pretty good to me. So, but I haven't played Contractors a whole lot recently, so.
Yeah, I mean, it did. I'm just glad that they're pushing it that way and that it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
We need a game like that on Quest.
Yeah. And so I guess talking about that, we can go ahead and jump into what we have on Pavlov. So Pavlov is officially coming to the Oculus Quest on December 19th, and that is going to be free to play. And they're calling this Pavlov Lite, the Quest version. Sure. It says working title. But so that they might be the first one. So as far as I know, they're going to be probably the first
they probably will
shooter, onto the Quest, which I think that's going to be huge. That's going to be a big advantage. So
I'm telling you, it's gonna blow up like Beat Saber did on Quest. Just because we need that first shooter. It's already got a big background of our library of players, because everybody, I mean, there's 1,200 people on usually.
Well,
on the
I wonder if there's going to be cross-platform. I'm not sure. Like Steve XM actually
that
asked
I don't
in chat
know.
about cross-platform for
but a lot of people who have VR though are buying Quests, so they've got it. You know
I
what
really
I mean?
hope
So
they
you're
do.
gonna get,
because one of the problems with Contractors sometimes is that it's not a huge player base all the time. You know, it's sometimes it's a little harder to find matches, but I love the game. So if they could do a cross-platform, you know, and get everybody hooked up together, that would be
cross-platform would be amazing. Because then if you have a buddy with a Quest and you're the one with the PC, you know, then you can play together.
Yeah.
It's just, I know.
So Paradise Decay asked if Contractors was on Quest sideload, and not as far as I know. You have to be added in by the developers for right now, and it's just an early build. They're still working out some bugs. Nothing's finalized yet. They're just doing a lot of testing and stuff. So we were just trying to get in there and test it out, and hopefully we can get in there together. At least the two of us can shoot at each other, and maybe try to pair up with some more people and get a little bit better idea. But it looks really good. I mean, it's not obviously it's downgraded from the PC, but it still looks. I mean, the colors are still good. Like
it's still the same maps though. So I'm wondering if crossplay wouldn't be possible. I think it would be, because it just looks like the textures or maybe the assets are a little. You know, the LODs are less. I mean, it's
I mean, but I was impressed. I mean, it looked good. It still looked really good. So I was super excited.
I just want a good way to capture stuff on Quest still. That's the only problem.
I've been messing with that too. I actually was messaging PD on some of the software he uses for the Quest stuff, and it's just not easy. Supposedly the new update, I don't think I've gotten this update yet. I haven't found the way to manually do the updates on the Quest yet. I looked for that yesterday, but there's supposedly a new update that's supposed to help with casting as well. That's supposed to decrease the latency quite a bit and stuff. So I just want a really easy way to cast it to the PC so I can just record it in software while I play wirelessly. But
I mean, these are crucial things for them. I mean, come on. Like,
there are options.
The better you can cast, the more people are going to want to play. Like, come on.
Yeah, and there is a way to do it, but I haven't got it working yet. I've tried to do it, and I haven't been successful yet in that venture, and I haven't messed with it a whole lot. So. But it's coming. I'm sure they will keep perfecting it for sure. So
it is. Oh yeah. Yeah, I was actually glad to get back. I haven't been in my Quest in a while, actually, since the move. So I didn't even know if it was updated or not. So I had to update everything. But I did go into the Post Malone concert.
Yeah, I did too.
Did you make it in? I didn't know if you did or not.
I did make it in for a little. I didn't stay there real long. I actually kept getting disconnected. Like it kept kicking me out and saying that my internet wasn't connected or something like that, so I'm not sure if I was having a Wi-Fi issue or what, but I got in there a couple times. The one thing I didn't love about it is that it kept moving my seat. Like I couldn't just stay in, like once I had an area that I like to stay in, like sometimes I would be beside the stage and then sometimes it would put me up high. Like it would like kind of scroll through, but I haven't done venues a whole lot.
Now, did it change your seat though? Are you sure it didn't just change the view in front of you? Because for me, the seat always stayed the same, but the screen changed. Like
the screen would change, but sometimes, like at one point in time, I was actually up in the stands, so that was the time that it felt like my seat actually changed. But again, I mean, it was cool, but the quality still isn't really there yet for me. I I don't know if it's just the lighting, how dark it is, that it's hard to capture real high quality, but it's I mean, it doesn't. It's hard. It's cool, like, and it's cool to go to, but it's not like I'm like, man, I'm at a concert. You know, it's not.
Well,
there
the
yet.
only thing I like though is if you go down to the bottom now in venues and there's a social button, and you can actually pull up a list of people who are in there online, whatever that may be. But if somebody's in there watching, like there was somebody in there watching, and it says, you have 3 mutual friends with this person. So I'm like, well, that's interesting. Like, and it says you can go sit by them then, you know? So that's kind of cool. Cause you can be, you know, once we go in, it puts your highest priority, I would assume, people at the top of that list. So like if you were in there and I was in there, it would have shown you probably. But
I think we were in at different times because I didn't see you in there. We showed you in Oculus Home, but me and the wife were actually both sitting in the living room. We were both in it on the Quest.
That's cool.
We went in on, she was on her Quest and I was on mine, and it was pretty cool though. I mean, it definitely has potential. I just think it still needs some improvements, and you know. And another thing I thought would have been cool is if I would have put the Subpac on for that, because you know when you're at a concert, I mean, your whole body feels the music, and that's kind of what this would do. You know, that was. But I didn't take the time to go grab it because I knew I wasn't staying in real long. I just kind of wanted to go in there and see what it looked like. But it was cool. I mean, it's got potential. So we do have a bunch of stuff to kind of roll through. We do have the Holoception guys coming on like around halfway through the show or so. So we do want to get into some of the stuff. One thing we talked about last weekend was Holo-Ride, and we talked about how they're teaming up, you know, with Ford and stuff to do this, basically a virtual reality ride. But
I'm
in a
excited
vehicle.
for this, though.
Yeah, this is really cool. So they released a new trailer for this. They actually contacted us and talked about this trailer they were coming out with. So this kind of shows what it is. I'm going to play this. It's really cool, I thought. Here it is.
I want to do it.
Yeah, they got some pretty big ambitions for this, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
The Bride of Frankenstein, not Bride of Frankenquest.
Come on, man. You do it too.
I know.
So I think we need to get them some Rift S too.
Yeah, I was wondering about why they're using a CV1. I would like to talk
Well,
to
they've
them about
probably
that.
been in development for so long that that's probably just what they've been using.
Yeah, and I'm guessing maybe the sensor so that it always keeps your centered.
That's
you know what
true.
I mean? Where Rift S is
That's
going
a
to
good
want to
point.
recenter.
Right, that's a good
I don't
point.
know what you think you're doing, but
Keep driving.
I mean, that would be so awesome, though.
I know. The feeling the movement, the wind coming in and stuff. I love it. I love the idea.
I would love for this to be somebody's first VR experience.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be so cool.
Shouldn't have any motion sickness.
No? I just feel like somebody's gonna punch like a seat or somebody like driving, like
Yeah.
thinking somebody's coming over the seat at them. I can see this all going bad, like the driver getting knocked out. And
I absolutely love it though. I think it is so cool.
I know,
like
me
I
too.
seriously want to do it.
I
The only
know.
problem that I see is if like I was taking a ride, like if I actually had a location that I was trying to go to and I was jumping in this thing and it was a short ride, like I wouldn't want to get out. You know what I mean? Like I would
Well,
want to
right.
finish the experience. So I don't know if it's just
I
based
know.
off of like how far you have to go, but I mean it sounds
know.
awesome. And I think Paradise Decay said something about the position of the mic makes it look like I'm wearing a big PSVR Frank tie. So the way the mic is right
That's what I was just looking at. Yeah.
which is funny. Maybe I
That's
should move
awesome.
it, but I'll leave it there.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome.
That's awesome. But yeah, the Holo-Ride looks
am.
really awesome.
I want to try this, man. I really want to go do it. Can we do like a special episode of like
I know.
Coffee and VR and Holo-Ride? Like
We need to do that. That would be
great.
so awesome. As far as I know, right now they're only in the Universal Studios or whatever in Florida. Or no, in California, I think it was.
But they have teamed up with Audi actually now.
Yes. Yep.
So I'm curious to see how they're teaming up with Audi, because are they going to do maybe like a at the Audi dealerships to where you can go and like hop in one? I mean, that would be my guess. Or is it going to be like plug and play, like in the back of their cars? I don't know. Like if you buy an A7, like can you just throw on a VR headset? Like that would be
No,
awesome.
That would be awesome. Yeah, I don't know how exactly they're teaming up with Audi, but I know they're teaming up with them as well. And like I said, they have some pretty big ambitions. They said something about having this in like a lot of vehicles. So I know that it's not just going to be limited, I'm sure, to just California or anything. You know, it's right
I
now
think
they're
it's
just kind of
even for kids and stuff. I mean, think how many screens they put in cars now for movies for
Yeah.
kids and stuff. This is just a whole nother level of it. You know, I mean,
for
that's
sure.
really cool. I'm really excited to see what and the plugging in and using all the sensors of the vehicle itself too. I love that. But
Yeah. I mean, it actually like knows what the vehicle's suspension is doing and everything. It's kind of crazy.
Yep,
I mean,
braking, all of it.
speed, and yeah, it's awesome.
Probably,
So,
I'm sure steering, because it's all drive-by-wire now, basically, anyways.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, I mean, you work on cars a lot, so you know. I mean,
Yeah.
it's all electrical now, so yeah, it probably wouldn't be a hard thing to do. I mean, I'm sure it's hard. Don't get me wrong. I'm not
Yeah,
down
so
on
he
that.
said we have the plan to bring VR into nearly every car. So I don't know what exactly that means yet, but that's pretty cool.
That's
That's
amazing.
one of the things they said to us. So yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I wonder if I could get that in my 73 TR6
How much? Yeah, you don't even have enough room for a computer in that
Probably
thing.
or electronics.
Yeah, really.
That's true.
Yeah. So Kayla Murphy told Jason, "Get ready to drive me around."
Right? I know.
That
That's
would
all
be
you
so
want to
awesome.
do.
You'd have to
Could you
take turns.
imagine?
You'd have to take turns. If it was in like your own personal vehicle, you'd have to take turns, you know, because everybody's
Just
gonna want
do
to play
laps.
it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
So
I know.
cool.
And you could, and if you're a developer and you had like access to the SDK and stuff, I wonder if you could like design it on a road that you would like had by your house and could
Yeah.
make it whatever you want. You know what I mean? It'd be awesome.
Well, if you could do
Yeah,
that, then you
crazy.
could wear the headset while you drive.
No.
You would just have it
no.
mapped perfectly to the road. The car you're driving is
That
perfect.
sounds like a horrible idea.
It's great. It's gonna happen.
Jeez.
It's
I
gonna
know.
happen. So talking about motion sickness a little bit, I came across this thing on I think it was Reddit, and let me see here. So this is basically somebody made this device to help combat motion sickness. So this is a homemade device that basically runs off a battery
yeah.
and has vibrations that actually like go behind your ear, and supposedly this is supposed to help with motion sickness and help cure that.
Crazy.
And this is something somebody just
Oh.
made.
I mean, I get it. I do get some of that. And I know, and I guess we haven't talked about this in a long time, but I know when we first started playing VR, everybody said that if you get motion sick with like locomotion, like games where you walk around action instead of teleport, if you just move your feet in place like you're walking, it takes away that feeling.
There are a lot of tricks. There's a lot of little
Yeah.
tricks that you can do, but this is, I thought was kind of interesting. So he said the intent is to introduce vibrations to confuse or add white noise to the vestibular system. If successful, the idea is that the user won't get sick as easily. I've seen some other work into VR sickness that uses low frequency transducers, so I decided to try out vibration motors instead as a cheaper, more powerful way of creating the effect, and it happens to be pretty cheap as well. So pretty cool, and I guess it helps. I mean, I don't know how much it helps, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, anything like that. And some people do get really motion sick.
Yeah.
Actually, somebody new on our Discord and stuff was over there talking. They just got their VR headset and, you know, they were going to play stuff. And I recommended budget cuts. And the reason being was because I knew it runs well on basically any system. And he was running a WMR headset. And I just wanted to make sure, you know, when stuff glitches, it makes you sick too. So easy run. And it has teleporting that was pretty smooth. And he said he loved it. He said, thanks for the recommendation and stuff. But speaking of that as well.
That was Space Cadet, yeah.
Yeah, it was Space Cadet. There you go. Budget cuts too. I'm just going to cut to this real quick. There is a beta sign up for the second one. And it is in the description. If you guys didn't catch that already, I did throw that link in the description. So you guys can sign up for that. I know if you get on the front line of that, it can be helpful. Yep. But yeah, it's a free beta sign up, so can't beat that.
We did both sign up, so we'll see what happens. I haven't played that yet. But yeah, I mean, it for him, that was a great game because it's not a very, you know, it won't make you motion sick, and he loved it. So teleport is definitely the way to start. And I think even just playing some, because my wife gets VR sick too, so motion sickness. So I'm hoping as she's playing games like Beat Saber and stuff like that, you know, there isn't any artificial locomotion, but I think even just being in VR for a while, I think starts to help, you know, you get used to it, and where you can eventually start slowly introducing some locomotion and stuff. And I'm curious to see how Pistol Whip is going to do with her, because it's a linear movement. You know, you're on a something rail that is moving, on a rail. You're moving through the environment, but that's still movement. So I'm not sure how she's going to deal with that. So we will see. I'm excited about that game, but
yeah, I think that stuff's okay because they plan on that. So usually there's like a platform under you that's still. So it gives you that little bit sense of a place you're standing.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I guess some people it would. As a first game, it might. But I mean, look, Beat Saber, you're standing still. You just have stuff coming at you.
Yeah, there's still movement. And I mean, it's just something you got to get used to. I mean, the more you do VR, you just get used to it, and you just have to do it little bits at a time. But she's kind of scared to do anything that really involves real much movement. So I got to help her get over that. But she's been loving
Tell her to try Minecraft. That one works real well.
Yeah, can't get that on the Quest yet, I guess, unless you sideload it or something. Yet. But hopefully that's coming. But
exactly.
So, and there's also Telefrag. There is a free weekend to play Telefrag VR.
Telefrag VR.
So that is available now. But let's talk about the Protas. What do you think? What do you think about the Protas?
Well, I think they copied my idea.
I think they've actually been working on this for a while. Maybe before your idea came out, I'm not sure, but I know they have been in the works for something like this for a while. But here is the image. So basically, if you remember, Tyler came up with the idea of using the magnetic, what was it called? Like a ball.
Steely.
Steely, yeah, it was a Steely.
Yeah.
So basically mounting that to the arm of your chair so that you can use your controllers to do flight sims. You know, you were using it a lot in No Man's Sky and stuff like that. So they actually came out with this. And there is a pre-order. Did you add the pre-order to the description?
I did not, no.
Okay,
no,
so we can add that later. But there is a pre-order for that, and it's about $28 US. So it's not crazy expensive, which I was excited to hear. I mean, it's pretty affordable. $28 isn't that bad.
Sadly, I think they had to after I came out with the price of doing it that way, because I mean, you can't sell it for $75 when you could go out and buy that for, what was it, $16 or something like that?
Yeah, I can't remember. But I mean, I'm curious to try this. I do like the idea. I know. Mean, it's, you know, it has the straps to go around a chair. I mean, it's because we know the idea works. You know, we know that like what you did and stuff, you know, that adds to it. So I feel like this is a great idea. I mean, it's pretty cool. I know.
And it's supposed to be magnetic from what they talked about originally, right? I mean, that's what they kind of started saying.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, there was some on their website, they would show some movement and stuff when they were putting it on the wall. And I'm not sure how how the movement works inside of that. And the information about this just came out, so we don't know a whole lot about it yet, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be able to break it away, because anything VR, if you're playing No Man's Sky, obviously you couldn't have it locked down.
Yeah.
You know, the whole time.
Oh, you mean that? Yeah, you mean how it attaches. Yeah, I think it's the same thing as like the mag tube for a gun stock. Like you can see right there, it's got that magnetic point, where.
That's true.
Actually, I have my cups on from playing the other day, but basically where that magnet right there
would be the receiver.
Yeah, it would snap right onto it. So
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sure
I think it's great. I really do. Yeah. I'm curious. I'd love to try it out.
Yeah. For $28, I mean, I was pretty happy that the price was pretty affordable and, obtainable. And I like the fact that it has the straps as well. That way you can change it from anything you want, change it from different chairs or, try different
I wonder though if they have any way of mounting it to like a desk.
Yeah, I don't know because.
Be curious.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you could do some kind of double-sided adhesive or something like that. But this definitely, like at least in this image, definitely shows, for an armchair or something like that. But.
Oh, and by the way, I sent you a picture. I was at Home Depot this week actually, which you may not have Home Depots around you, but they actually have not you, but viewers. But they actually have the Steely stuff at Home Depot, which was really cool. I was really surprised, and I thought about it after I left. I should have picked up another receiver for another chair of mine or a desk, because I could have mounted it somewhere else then too. But next time I'm there, I'll probably pick one up. Now. But you can buy them individually,
which is cool.
Yeah, it was super cool. I was impressed about that.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that is good stuff.
So Kingspray is coming to Quest 2.
Yeah, it did come to Quest this past week.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, it did. You're right. It did release. Yep. Yeah, which is awesome. That's another fun game to spend time.
Let's play this trailer and then we can talk through it. But this game's been out for a long time. I mean, a long time. Probably, I think 2016 is when it originally released on the Oculus Store. And this is actually one that I never played. I always thought that it looked cool, but I'm just not artistic enough that I feel like I would get super into this. You know what I mean? I think it would be cool to try, and I would probably play around for a little while, but I don't know if this is something that I would play all the time. But somebody that
There's a lot of people that do, though.
Yeah, I mean, somebody that is artistic, it is an awesome, awesome game. And I actually was reading somewhere, I think it was on Reddit, that somebody said that they played this game and that they were actually used to be like a tagger. They used to do graffiti and do tagging and stuff, and they said they loved it. They thought it was awesome. They said it brought them back to their old days and all that stuff. And it was really cool. PD just did a video on this recently, and I was telling him, it was funny because he was out and he had a hoodie on, on a brick wall. Like I was like, man, I'm glad you didn't get busted by the cops. Like you look like you're doing something shady when he was standing out there on that brick wall. But I mean, it was a controlled environment, but it was pretty cool.
It does look cool. I always wanted to try it. Same thing, but I just never did. I don't know. Yeah. And actually, I think it was it multiplayer at one point? Didn't they add co-op or something to it?
It might be multiplayer. I'm not sure.
I don't know about Quest, but I thought on PC they actually added that in early.
But I mean, if you're artistic, same thing with like the medium, and all those tilt brush and like I'm just not artistic enough. I wish that I was. Like I wish I could go into this and spend hours and hours creating this masterpiece. And there's somebody that I see their stuff on Twitter all the time that does these amazing, amazing paintings and stuff in VR. And it's just unbelievable. Like I would love to be able to do that stuff, but it's hard. I mean, without the artistic ability, it's still fun to play around. But if you're good at that kind of stuff, I could see getting lost in that kind of game for a long time. But and there's no campaign either, which is kind of, as far as I know, there's no campaign. So it's kind of different environments, and all that stuff. But it is really cool though.
Yeah, they were asking what the brands of the stuff was in chat. Of the Protas is by Protube, which is the one that they're selling straps on the chair, and then the one we came up with was a magnetic phone mount. Which was called the Steely Ball, I think.
Yeah.
And I think the company might have been Steely, but I'm not sure.
I think it was Steely's or something like that, yeah. But basically the same thing, but it just used adhesive to put it onto your controller and then onto your chair or desk or whatever, and then it was just a magnetic ball. So once it was on there, it could rotate all around and everything, and then you could pop it back off real easy when you needed to do something else.
Actually, my camera won't autofocus, but you can kind of see right there on the bottom of my index controller. That's the receiver for it.
Yeah.
So it's just basically a little puck that goes on there. And then there's a ball that's on my chair, my office chair that I keep, and then it just socks right down onto it. And then I've got a flight stick in there. So yeah, it worked really well for how cheap and very minimal, which I like. That's the only problem with the Protas, I feel, is you have that big thing on there now. So the second you go and play something else, you've got that in the way or have to take it off.
The nice thing is that if it works if it's the same thing, which it looks like it is the same thing for the gun stock. So if you're going back and forth between those games, you should be fine. Yeah, you should be fine.
Sure.
But
you could. That's true.
So
yeah, I get that.
And I mean, at least with the Quest and the Rift S and the Rift, they pop out of the cups real easy. The Index is a little bit more difficult for how it attaches to the Index to take it on and off. But I mean, you can leave it on there too all the time. But yeah. So a couple new games. Have you seen this Rico's Fragments? Which is actually it's like a horror game. So this is like a horror game where somebody's in the headset and then other people on cell phones and tablets and stuff actually control the environment for like jump scares and all this kind of stuff. And I think it's an excellent idea. You know, we're seeing a lot of these games where for parties and stuff, you're getting more people involved. This would be an excellent thing for Halloween time though.
Especially if you're casting it to a TV and people can see like what they're seeing. I mean, that's the best. If you can cast to something or a monitor or anything.
Well, I mean, I think they see it on their phone because they see what you're doing so they can control it.
No, but see on their phone, it just shows like a list of things on it.
Yeah, maybe.
Like things you can hit. Would be funny though.
It's freaky looking.
That's with people.
Yeah, it's freaky looking.
Like if you know somebody like hated spiders or something, or snakes, you could just add it in.
You can see like when they're starting to reach for something or something, and then you can make something happen. But I think it's an excellent idea. The only problem with the horror games, especially in a party environment, is getting people to say yes to putting that headset on and knowing they're going into something scary. That is so hard to do. Most people don't want to do it.
Well, even something that's not scary. I had a hard time convincing one guy to go into Richie's Plank experience, you know?
Yeah, well, that is scary. It is scary. It's just not horror, but it's scary.
Yeah.
Depending on,
but I mean, like, you're standing there. You're not, like, literally doing it. Like, come on. But people's minds take over,
No, you know? And especially if you haven't been in VR for a while, you know, right off the bat, it's hard to realize in your brain that what you're seeing isn't real. You know what I mean? Like somebody like for us that have been playing for a long time, you know, you can quickly be like, okay, like I know this isn't real, like it's okay. But for them, it's like, I mean, you're walking, you're physically walking, you're seeing yourself move, you're on a skyscraper. It's scary. I mean, it's awesome though. But
I get it.
But that for Halloween though, I think would be pretty cool. Somebody have a Halloween party and have, you know, everybody over to do something like that. It says this October. It's supposed to come out this October. I don't think it's out
once
yet,
I get finalized with my house, I'm definitely having people over and we're definitely going to do VR stuff because I have a whole basement now that's set up for it. So yeah, I'll have to do something or at least record something, but nobody wants to see a gutted basement, but it's a good VR play space. So.
Yeah, once it's all done, it's going to be awesome. But
well, true. Yeah, it could be a little. So all right, we got to keep rolling. We got a timeline here. So Pirates of the Asteroid Belt, which is in the description. Do you have the video for that one?
I do.
I thought so.
Yep. So this has a little bit of talking in it, I believe, but this is something that is new.
You wouldn't be able to dock if there is nobody at the station.
Come on, bring the ship to the station and do not panic ahead of time.
Are you going to take a gun at least?
What the hell is going on here?
Pirates. These drones have an optical guidance system. It means they turn off the shield or stop shooting if the drone is in smoke.
This asteroid surrounding us now, it is a real gold.
Behind.
Seeking for me?
I was actually looking for your dead body. The administrator suspected that contraband cargo was infiltrated to station.
It reminds me a lot of From Other Suns.
That's what I was thinking.
I mean, that really, I mean, From Other Suns, it's not that it's a copy, but it just everything about it kind of reminds me of it. I don't know. I mean, it looks good. It does look, I mean, visually it looks good.
So the release date for this is October 24th, and there's actually a free demo on Steam right now. So if you want to check this out, there is a free demo to check it out, which we haven't we haven't had time yet to go into this. We just kind of found out about this past week, so we haven't really even known about this game for very long, but yeah, there is a free demo. So if you want to check it out on Steam, check it out, and then the release date is October 24th. So, but
I mean, anything with a free demo though, I mean, it's definitely worth going into.
I
and
love
trying.
demos. I love demos because it really does give you an idea if this is, you know, is it something you want to pick up or no? You know, I don't know.
Right, exactly. It doesn't hurt. I mean, it just, I feel like it brings them business, you know, developers, because if something cost me $15 and I'm like on the fence about it, or $20, I'm like, I don't know, it's not worth it. But if I try a demo and love it, I want to keep playing.
Right.
So I don't know. And maybe I'm different than some people, but, and I mean, I know they have the return policy and all that stuff on Steam. I don't really like doing all that. It's just me. I guess I grew up in a generation where it was either buy and keep but
I think something might have happened. The stream froze. So some people are saying that it's buffering.
Mine's not
it's
at the
back
moment.
Up. Okay, it's back up.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what happened there.
It must have been, yeah.
But sorry about that.
Yep. Yeah.
So, anyways, about this. So it says Pirates of the Asteroid Belt is a sci-fi, story-driven, role-playing action game. The story is set in 2273, somewhere within the solar system. You're neither a war hero nor a savior of the humanity, but a captain of a small cargo ship to travel across the solar system is just a job for you. Unfortunately, cargo transport in the main asteroid belt still remains not only loss-making business, but it is also a dangerous one. So, yeah. Check out the free demo. It's definitely
worth trying. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. All right, let's see. What are we at time-wise here? All right. So I did read an article this past week about the Air Force, and actually my brother-in-law is in the Air Force. So I was kind of curious, and I know around where he's at, they've been using some VR stuff, I think, for some training. I think the base he used to be at, actually. But they have been using it for helicopter pilot training. And they actually, they take 28 weeks, right, for their training from start to finish till they graduate. So they started using VR headsets in their training, and they knocked 6 weeks off their training, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts.
And just from this preliminary test, they feel like they can cut the 28 weeks, which is a total, to 14 weeks.
That's pretty
awesome. Can you imagine? I mean, cutting their time, 14 weeks, learning to be a helicopter pilot, and they call it from the vertical lift aviator training is what it is. So I'm assuming that's from not knowing anything to being able to take off and land or fly or whatever that may be. But 14 weeks, that's crazy. I mean, that's nothing. And to cut it from VR is just awesome,
It really,
and obviously the Air Force knows what they're doing with their training. They've been doing it forever. Right. So that's a huge jump. It has to be for them.
I mean, it just shows the power of VR. I mean, the power of what VR is capable of and what it can do. I mean, that's that's awesome. So.
They have simulators and stuff, but it does not compare because VR, you have that real life memory of it. Where a simulator, you still feel like you're sitting and watching a screen,
Right.
You don't get the depth perception. You don't get any of that.
It
so
translates very well. For any kind of real world training. I think we're going to hear a lot more stories like this in the future of,
Could you imagine like cranes, like the huge,
anything.
Like skyscraper cranes that are up there, like training those guys and stuff to like looking down and dropping stuff down. That would be unbelievable.
And Paradise Decay said, and no risk of crashing in VR.
Right.
You can crash in VR. You just don't actually get hurt, hopefully.
Yeah, right.
Gosh, yeah. So what else we got to get into? So there is another trailer we want to talk about is Powder VR. So this is a skiing game, and this looks pretty cool. A lot of the footage, it says rendered in engine. It said it real small in the trailer. But it looks pretty cool. The only thing, like when you watch the trailer, it doesn't look like it's real smooth frame rates when you watch the trailer. I'm not sure if that, hopefully that'll be all fledged out by the time the actual game is out. But it looks pretty cool. I mean, there's a ton of different environments you can go to. It looks like you can get some crazy speeds, like 100 plus miles per hour. And
I think this is awesome. I've always wanted to go heli skiing myself. Never have been. I've been backcountry skiing, but not heli skiing. And that would just be the experience of being able to get in the helicopter too in VR and go up there. That would be super cool.
And then jump out of it. Yeah, it looks awesome. I hope they can get it running smooth. It's just the trailer for some reason doesn't look like it runs real smooth, but hopefully they get all that figured out. But I really do want to see some more extreme sports stuff. Like I know we talked about the Tony Hawk Pro Skater stuff a couple weeks ago. In this, it shows some doing tricks and stuff, and I don't know. I think the extreme sports stuff could be pretty cool, especially once you get over the motion sickness stuff. But
yeah. But if you do it enough, I mean, you would get comfortable, even if it does make you a little bit in the beginning.
And it has snowboarding too. But it looks like from the trailer, there's a lot of different environments, which really looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
what was that? There was an old game that it wasn't Zero G. It was like a gravity skateboard futuristic game back in the day. Oh man. I forget. That would be awesome.
I feel like we do this every weekend.
I know.
We think of a game and we're like, what was the name of that game?
I have played so many games over the years. It's ridiculous. Like I have some of my 64 games that I found and stuff that are all sitting here and stuff. I need to go. I know.
So
Not enough time
early access this December is what they're shooting for. So
that's actually pretty soon. So hopefully they get some of that.
Bad. That's not bad.
Right, ironed out and going too.
Yeah. So there is also a Survios sale going on right now too.
Yeah.
I did want to talk about that. I think all of the Survios VR games.
Maybe not. Yeah, and up to what was it? Up to 50 or 70% off or something?
Yeah, it's up to 90% off.
90. Oh, okay, there you go.
So there are a bunch of games. This is just their little image here, but we do have a list of the games. So Battle Wake, Battle Wake hasn't even been out that long. So half off at $14.99. Awesome. Creed Rise to Glory, $14.99. Electronauts, 75% off for $4.99. I mean, that's pretty awesome. Raw Data, $10, which was an awesome game. Sprint Vector, $10. So yeah, pretty awesome. Yeah. And I mean, they're not done yet. They're still coming out with VR games too. They got a lot more stuff in the works that they've released and announced. So
I know they're doing. They got serious. I mean, ambitions.
They're a busy studio. They are a busy studio for sure.
Well, on top of that, they own arcades too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's great. And speaking of, did you end up getting that picture in that arcade in Atlanta? The Void, the one that has the battery.
Did this one just open up? This is in Atlanta.
It did.
Yeah.
Yep. It did open up. But yeah, they're actually. Let's see if I can pull up. One of them is a Star Wars.
Yeah, and
experience.
Then Ralph Breaks VR, I think, is the other.
Ralph Breaks VR. That's what it is. Yep.
And I haven't been to a Void yet. I haven't been to a Void yet. And I really want to. They have some pretty awesome experiences, and they really try to take control of all your senses and stuff, which really helps in VR.
They inject like smells and stuff even into the room and everything. I mean, that's super cool. Yeah. That would be a lot of fun. Yeah. And these are running, impressive stuff because they're running PCs on these too. Right. So, I mean, you're getting good experience on all these.
Yep. So one thing real quick, Anna K's just bring up is that it is just a Steam sale for the Survio stuff, not Oculus. Nice, it's just on Steam. So good point. Yep. We did not mention that. So.
Which, I mean, you can still play them on Steam. I mean, you don't have to buy them on. If you have an Oculus headset, you can still play stuff on Steam as well. Right. So.
Yep. But really good prices though, so that is cool. Yep. And I got to get to one of these Void things. I do got to get to one of those. I will be in Vegas here coming up pretty soon, and I can't remember if they. I know they have a bunch of stuff in Vegas. I can't remember if they have one of the Voids there or not. Yeah. But I do want to check that out. That's gonna be. Yeah. Got to get into one of those.
Trailers? Did you have the Iron Man trailer?
Were you thinking of Trickster? No, I didn't grab the Iron Man. Were you thinking of Trickster? Okay. That's what I think Paradise Decay said. The game that you were thinking of, was it that?
Oh, that was the one. That was on. I think I had it on Dreamcast, maybe even or something. I forget. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, it was. Yep, that's awesome. I love that game. That would be so cool in VR.
Yeah, that would be cool. So
you could do like all the kick flips and everything with the board and all the tricks and stuff. It's so good.
So talking about Iron Man though, they did confirm a February launch date on PSVR. So we didn't grab the trailer. We've talked about that, and people have been talking about that for a while. But yeah, it is coming out in February. So February of 2020. I think
that'll be cool, just because of the suit and everything. I mean, it's one of those games that I feel like is, they did the Spider-Man and all that stuff, but I feel like Iron Man stuff is over the top for VR is where it should be.
Supposedly people that have tried it say it's pretty awesome. So it kind of reminds me, just like watching the trailers and stuff, it reminds me a little bit of Defector in a sense. And even in Defector, you got to jump out of the plane and stuff like that. And but yeah, I would love to try it. Hopefully, we get some PSVR 2 news, actual news,
I know. We're close. We're close on all this stuff, though.
Yeah, they should start. I think in the summertime, I think we'll start hearing actual news. But I don't know how much they're going to want to take away from the actual PS5 console release either. So it's hard to say how they're going to go about this. But I
think they're going to release it in conjunction. I mean, I think it's going to be an all-in on both of them. I do. I think they know that's where it's going with the sales that they've had from the PlayStation headsets. That I think it's a no-brainer for them. I don't know.
That's going to be hard though, because then you have somebody that has to buy 2 expensive pieces of hardware. You don't have to. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's coming together, but I think they're gonna drop it as like this is the ultimate setup. Like like you could have all this.
So maybe release the PS5 first and then release PSVR later.
I think drop them at the same time. That would be me, but
so both of them in December 2020.
I would think so. Maybe. I absolutely.
I would like to see that. I'm sure a lot of people would. I don't know what they'll do, but
I think they need to. I think they have a jump on right now on Microsoft, so why wouldn't they? I think, but you never know.
pretty awesome.
Oh, Trickster. That's awesome. All right. What else? We have anything else?
What time is it? 11:20. So we'll probably get to calling them here pretty soon. Hopefully they're about ready to go. The developers of Holoception, that is.
Yeah. Did we? Trying to see.
Got the Void.
Oh, the Varjo headset?
Yeah, we could talk about that. And one thing I would like to debate is it Varjo or Varjo? I have no idea.
Right.
I don't know if anybody else really knows for sure either. I think it's Varjo, but I don't know. But they did come out with the VR2, and they've shown that off some. And I believe the VR2 Pro is $6,000, which is pretty insane. But it's supposed to have like Retina resolution. And it actually has, as far as I know, it has 4 screens in there. So it has a different screen for, the lower res stuff, and then a super high, smaller screen for, what's going to be in focus. So,
right.
I mean, the technology, it's nice to see the technology advancing. And this is going to work with Steam and a bunch of other stuff. But, I mean, it's definitely not.
I just don't know how they're going to have 2 screens without seeing a divide. I mean, it'd have to be like an edge-to-edge display in the center of another screen or something. I don't know. The
technology is a little bit crazy, but it is cool. I mean, it's good to see that technology advancing. Obviously, this is not a headset I'll be able to pick up at $6,000. Right. That's for sure. But maybe the MRTV studio, maybe he'll have the MRTV experience. I don't know if he'll get one in there or not. I mean, that's a hefty price tag, but yeah, it is cool, and it'll be, and it's not really meant for gamers anyways. It's meant for, people that are wanting to build something, and then they can actually see what that product will look like, a big building or cars or whatever else. They can see that fine detail before they actually build it. So for enterprise, it does make sense. And I think it's only like an 82 or 84 degree field of view, so it's not, a full what we're used to and stuff. So it's definitely not meant for gaming, but it would be cool to see that super high, crazy resolution. But
it would. Trust me, it would. And already, even I don't know, with the 5K plus, it's really good. I don't know, the visuals. I didn't notice one thing. Now, so when I go into like new headsets, I always try and go in not looking for something. You know what I mean? Because I know what people have said about it. I go in just fresh, eyes wide open, and just play something. Yeah. And I don't want to sit there and try and nitpick it right away. And I noticed nothing about screen door. And everyone said the edges get real blurry and stuff. I don't know if because my old habits, I turn my head anyways that I didn't notice it.
Yeah, not looking with your eyes as much, but
right. And I wear glasses a lot of time anyways, so I typically turn my head anyways to look. So maybe that's just me.
I am curious to check out the 8KX. I want to know more about that when that comes out too. That's going to be pretty interesting if we can have a GPU to run that thing. But
Sebastian over at MRTV has the 8K right now, I'm pretty sure. And I don't know how. I think it's kind of mixed reviews between the 8K actually and the 5K plus.
Yeah, I think he might have the newer one, the 8K plus, I believe. So that's supposedly some pretty big improvements over the regular 8K. Yeah, most people seem to prefer the 5K plus over the 8K when both of those came out. But
correct.
But Sean Norton said he'll have a kale, cinnamon, almond, mochaccino with dirt, please. I know, what it's all about, but
I know we do. I need to get a brewer in here and make some on-request coffee cups.
Yeah, really.
Be great.
Pretty crazy. So we could probably go ahead and get ready to maybe see if the devs are ready to call in. We're gonna play the trailer first. So this is actually their launch trailer for Holoception. And we've talked about Holoception a couple times on this show, so you're probably not, if you've been watching this for a while, you've heard a decent amount about Holoception, but we finally have a release date, and we may find out a price today too.
Yeah.
So much fun. I love all the color that's been added into the world too. I remember when we first went in here, it was not as colorful. And I've seriously almost had to watch this trailer a million times, and I still haven't seen everything because there's so many little things that they've added into the game. There's so many little things that are coming that are pretty incredible. Oh yeah. So.
The cat paws still kill me.
Oh, I know. Great. I love the humor. I love the humor that they put into it. The humor is absolutely great.
My favorite thing going into it. I love the color of the environments. Like, it's not over the top, it just pops of color, and it doesn't take away. Like, I love the simplistic look of it.
Right.
I really do.
Yeah.
So
I just love the humor too. It's so great.
Yeah, I know.
The ball pit.
Ball pit.
Yeah, it is so awesome.
Oh, it's great. So good.
It really
The
is.
cat pod stuff. I could keep watching.
Were they
that over and
curving
over again.
bullets in that last thing?
Yes, they were.
It's actually been a little while since I've been in the game. I wanted to get into it before we came on, and I haven't had time. So I look forward to this weekend getting in and playing again.
I know. I was in it 2 nights ago, but they just sent me the new build of it too.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see all the new stuff that's in it, which is awesome.
Oh, man,
Like, that's so good. Somebody's been practicing.
I love the
gameplay.
John Wick
Great. I know. Oh man.
and the rubber ducky. So awesome. So,
That is awesome. That's cool.
so
Yep.
let's see if they're maybe ready. Are they calling in? Are they ready to go? Do we got them live?
Yeah.
Let me see here.
Yeah.
Let's switch scenes here. And hey, there they are.
There we go.
Hi.
What's
Welcome.
going on, guys? Oh, thanks for coming on. We really do appreciate it.
We have a little bit of a celebration.
I know, yeah. Yeah, congratulations on the release coming up. That's really exciting. I bet
Thank
you guys
you.
are pumped to finally get it out. Probably a little nervous at the same time. I'm trying to get stuff done, I bet.
Oh, yes, we are. And a little tired as well.
I bet.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, don't you hate that? I know.
So if you guys
It is
want to,
all your hours.
if you guys want to give us a little bit of an introduction of who you are, your names, and your studio. So
Yeah. So I'm Roger.
I'm Dennis.
We basically founded the company which created Holoception is Holonautic, and we met each other while studying life sciences, which is not really related to Holoception in a direct way. And basically, we always wanted to start our own company, right? Because it's just, and we never found a good idea what we could do until we tried VR for the first time. And once we had that experience, we knew we couldn't go back to anything else.
Yeah. I think a lot of us have felt that way with
Yeah.
VR, at least as consumers.
When we started Life Science, we both had the same mindset. We wanted to being able to be superhumans. We know we were a little bit naive, and we wanted to think we could modify the genetic code. And of course, after finishing our studies, we were more down to earth to what was actually possible.
That's actually not really possible, at least at the time. But the dream was still there, right? Your motivation, why you want to study something, is usually because you have some plans, what can you do with that?
Sure.
And the interesting thing is that with VR, you get really close to that because you can feel like you're in there and you have those superpowers. You can be like Iron Man, Spider-Man, whatever you want. And just because the technology gets always better, it will become more and more realistic. So that's basically, instead of manipulating the genomic code of the human beings, we just make those experiences possible in VR.
Yeah, basically, we can now trick the brain to recreate that result and actually feel what we want to feel in VR.
And you might see a few of them in Holoception already, and we have many more things planned.
I know in the early stages when we were in there, I know the ideas were just flying out of you guys of stuff to try and doing stuff, and let's try this. If it works, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't, which is awesome. I know us as consumers too really appreciate that because you're willing to work outside the box too, because you guys are just wanting to build something fun and exciting and new. So that's really do appreciate that.
I mean, this game has come leaps and bounds since the first time we went in there. I mean, it's just
Oh, yeah.
amazing the stuff and there's just so many ideas. And I know you guys have talked about, maybe we can get a little bit out of you today about some future plans and stuff. I know there's limitless stuff that you guys have planned for this and ideas, and it's so cool to get to experience some of this throughout the game. But yeah.
So my question for you guys is, what was the first thing that you guys played that made you really want to get into VR?
So the very first thing we did, it was more wasn't the Void. It's something we had here in Switzerland also, where it was like a custom experience where you walk around, you see your legs, you see your hands with a big two-handed gun, etc., and you kill just zombies. So the game was not very exciting in terms of what you can do, because you basically shoot zombies, but just the immersion was so fascinating that you cannot go back to anything else after that.
Especially when it's your first time in VR, and we had like the full body tracking experience where we were like 4 people, and of course it was like a zombie shooting game. So we were walking for real into the room, and it was really an immersive experience. So as a first time in VR, it was really like, we had to go for that for the future.
And then you knew that that's where it's going. So yeah,
and we ordered not a few days later, we started to order the first headsets to just see.
What did you guys get as a first headset? Did you get the Vive?
The first one was the Vive with the wands because of the 360 tracking, and that just looked really like exactly what we were going for. And then we ordered the Rift S, the Rift during that time, and then we just experimented with both and just went on from there. It's just like the 360 tracking was really something which excited us, that you are not always have to face forward, etc. Now all headsets basically do that. And that's really cool.
Also, one of the first things we wanted to, when we started the company, was to build some kind of arena, and we thought with those base stations from Steam VR, we could actually recreate some kind of multiplayer with the same people using the same room scale space. And after a few experiences, it actually worked. That was even the idea to make maybe you want to talk a little bit about that?
We just wanted to create like a multiplayer simple game, and we wanted to have a physics-based shooter, etc. We experiment with that, but it's just not. Basically, the rent here where we live is extremely expensive, so to make an arena actually work was it's just like nearly impossible. And we want to have like a 100 square meters. I don't know how much it is in inches, but a large-scale area, and it would have been so expensive that we couldn't afford to build all that. So we said we have not really a good idea what we're doing because we're not really in the gaming industry or anything, but we said let's just try to make some new experience in VR, like something we haven't seen before. And we spent actually quite a few months just building prototypes from everything which came to mind. We tried to recreate some experiences we had in other games, like on flat screen games, and see how they could be translated into VR. And it took us months and dozens of projects, which we also hired more people. So we have a whole team now. We all worked together, experimented with multiple ideas. And sometimes we were desperate, not finding what is fun, because often when you think in VR, hey, that would be fun, let's try this. You build a prototype and it's it doesn't work. It's fun on the flat screen, but it's not fun in VR. And then you try, okay, this mechanic I really like, let's try to implement that. And it just doesn't work. The interactions are there, menus don't look well, nothing works. And basically Dennys was working on the side, a little bit on his own, on that Holoception project. It was called completely different before.
Even the overall mindset of the company was always to throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. So we always made fast prototypes quickly, in 1 or 2 weeks, and then we see and we let other people play, and we ask, it's always good to have feedback from other people and to know, is it actually fun? Would you actually like to go in VR to play a game like that? And after many experiences, we had many projects that were actually fun.
But it's basically we then went to an exhibition for the first time, like a small one, very close to where we have our offices, so we could just go there and just prototype 2 or 3 experiences we had, and Holoception basically stood out the most out of all of them, where just everyone could just pick up and play and had fun with it, and it felt new, especially those people which never played VR could still play it, but those which had a headset were even more intrigued because it was something completely new. And it was in a way rougher stage than even you guys played in the beginning. But still, the basic idea was there.
The funny part is that. Oh, sorry.
No, our first experience with it. I know the second Sean and I both played it, we said to each other, "This is something we have never done in VR," and it's a total out-of-body experience, something that you couldn't even imagine. Which I'm sure even for you guys, it probably evolved. But I mean, it's something you can't. I don't know, put your finger on. It's almost like you're remote controlling somebody else's body, which is really cool.
I mean, we've seen third-person games in VR before, where you're in third-person mode, but you're actually controlling a character that is mimicking what you're doing. It's definitely a completely different new idea that we haven't seen in VR before.
And especially it's so interesting what your brain does, when you because you feel like you are that character in front of you, but you can also be in first person, so your brain gets a little bit in a weird state, and especially if you get smacked by some big enemy to the side and you see yourself flying, it's like the feeling you get is just still for us. It's like it's just something very unique, and we just have. And the coolest part.
I like that it takes practice as well. Like you can't just jump in. I mean, yes, you can jump in and it's easy to play, but to get good at it, you have to actually have like real world, experience in playing it. Because I remember like even 2 nights ago, I had the bat and I love doing leg sweeps with the bat. I love coming real low on somebody and sweeping the legs out from under them. But you have to get that accuracy and that muscle memory. Even with that, it's crazy to me, because before games were just, you push a button and it does something and you hit X and it does this. But now you have to be accurate. You have to be the right speed. You have to be everything. So I love that.
Yeah, it's one of those games which is, we could say easy to start with, but really hard to master.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Go into home, grab some object, like play a little bit with, but to actually go in the arena and fight and manage to recreate those stunts like the one we show in the trailer, it takes a little bit of practice. At the beginning, you're really like confused. Okay, there is that puppet in front of you, but surprisingly, quite quickly after a while, the brain just adapts. And you think you're just that puppet in front of you. No matter which direction the character is looking at, your brain just adapts. That was really surprising.
Yeah, that was actually a lot of experimenting, and we knew like from the studies we did also like the proprioception capabilities of the brain that you can project yourself into something else and all of that. But there we had to like figure out exactly how to do it. It was a lot of Dennys work mainly on the locomotion system and how that whole system works, and it requires a lot of math, probably more than you realize when you play the game, to make it actually feel good. It's just like for us still very fascinating to see how people react, that it somehow for most of them it clicks at some moment that they say, okay, now I get it, I know how it works, and then it basically takes off, and then they get better and better at it.
Yeah, I said that to people in the beginning when you guys, I know we're over on our channel a long time ago now, and gave out some beta keys, and people tried it and said, I don't know, it doesn't really, click for me. But once you hit that point and you play it a little bit and it clicks. Like that's it. It's the craziest thing. Like you just learn how to move like that, and it's amazing. It's really does though.
Another one of the games that it's hard to watch trailers of the game. Like I love the trailers, but it's hard for any VR game to look at a trailer and be like, oh, that is awesome. It's just that experience of once you get in there, And this is one of those games that's hard to translate into a 2-dimensional trailer until you've been inside the game. Like I don't know how it is for somebody to watch the trailers that have never been in the game, but for me that I've been in there, like I love seeing the trailers because it puts me back into the game. So I really do looking forward to seeing how everybody experiences this, and watching a lot of videos and stuff of how other people play it, because everybody plays it differently. There's so many different ways you can do things, and some people are super excited about one mode that maybe somebody else doesn't pay as much attention to, but there's just so many different ways to play it, so many different weapons and things you can do. It is really, really cool. So
I like in the beginning when you get people coming at you with guns before you even have one, and when you take them down, taking the gun off the ground and stuff, and like people learning that they can do that and go grab ammo and just start using it.
And
yes, you can't take it out with you, but and the slow-mo.
And the slow-mo really adds to it too. It really does make you feel like you're John Wick or something like that. Because you can slow things down, you can pick your shots. It's almost like watching a movie as you're in slow-mo. You do the leg sweep, and then it's literally like you're watching a movie, but you're taking part in it as you're playing it.
I like uppercutting with the bat in slow-mo, and then when they go airborne, I smack them back down to the ground. It's so good. So rewarding.
For us, that was one of the main important aspects we wanted in the game. Like everything you think you can do should be able to be like interactive. Like you see an apple, you should be able to grab it. You see you push down an enemy, he falls, he loses his cap. You should be able to take it and put it on you. And for us, that was one of the probably main aspect of the game, that you can do what you want to do.
Yeah, that basically what you would expect to happen actually happens. You have a crowbar and a baseball bat, but they feel so different. Just they have a different physical shape, so you can use the crowbar to get the handle on the neck of an enemy and then swing it around. Those things were just important, that everything feels like just a bit different, and that was basically the main point, that we wanted to have as little explanations in the game as possible, that you just go in and try things. You grab a pen, you start to scribble on the whiteboard. You grab a baseball bat and just start hitting on things. You grab a cone from the floor and just put it on as a hat, and it works. Like those things are important to us, that you just go in, you experiment and see the nearly everything which you expect to happen actually happens.
Yep.
And we are sometimes surprised how things just work because it's all physics based.
Yeah, we constantly discover stuff you can actually do in the game which was not intended. Like sometimes you're running, you throw a grenade, it was by mistake, and then your foot hit a grenade, and it just throw on an enemy, and you actually do an epic scene. And of course you can then go in slow-mo or in stop motion. You can rotate the camera and capture that moment. And it's something really cool. You always discover something new in the game, even for us. Which
it's still after playing it for months, we still have moments which we never have seen before, and that was even surprising to us that we can still play and we still discover new little things which you can do which we didn't even know because we built something which is completely physics based, right? Certain things happen and some funny scenes happen, which is really exciting to us that we can still have fun with the game even after working it for such a long time.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite was when I learned how to actually use the grenade. So this has been a while now, but when the grenade got implemented, I didn't realize you had to pull the pin. So I'm pulling the trigger like, okay, it's not going off. Well, then I pulled the pin and saw I pulled it. I'm like, oh, crap. So I dropped it and ran. Well, all the enemies were coming at me. They ran over the grenade and they all went scattering. And I'm like, that was epic. Like on accident, totally not on purpose. Looked amazing. But yeah, stuff like that's great.
You remember back in the Halo days when they were making the movies inside the video game, like the red versus blue and stuff like that? I feel like this is definitely a game that we could see people doing that. Like making
that's a great idea.
mini shows and movies inside of this game. I could totally see that. I could totally see that happening.
That'd with two of us in there, I know, pulling bodies and stuff and arms apart.
Speaking of that, is there any plans for any kind of multiplayer or co-op or any kind of thing to get more than one person into the game?
So
you know us.
A very frequent question we get, and the main issue is like multiplayer with so much physics-based, and we experimented a lot of making physics-based games work, and the problem is basically the refresh rate of the headset, right? 90 hertz, everything has to be extremely fast, and the extreme versatility of input, where you can move your hands around in anything, so you cannot do most strategies you do in other multiplayer games, because it's just like the lag is too much. So it's probably will be very difficult, or a game will feel very different if you have to make it fully work in multiplayer. What we are thinking currently about is like maybe something local, right?
I was just going to say that.
You can have one person in the headset and the other one maybe using another input device. Maybe something will come, but it mainly depends on what the community thinks. Like when we get feedback that a lot of people would be excited to have playing it with their friends on the same computer and just have like local multiplayer. If that's something people really want and are more excited than the other things we have planned, then we basically shift the focus of what we do next.
That's also one of the main reasons we go early access, because we think there is so much more we can add to the game, but we have so many crazy ideas we don't even know where to start. So getting feedback, a lot of feedback from the community will help us a lot to know, okay, what do people actually want for Holoception?
Yeah,
I think that would be great. I think it would be a blast. I mean, I don't even need to go on about that. I think it would be over the top great. Just to be able to add stuff in, or have somebody trying to send enemies at you while you're in there trying to keep them away from you. You know, just that alone would be amazing.
That would be
really
cool. Because I mean, we love multiplayer. Like we love playing together games. We just have to make it work in a way that we are proud of it in some way. Like, you know, it has to feel really good. And for that, we need to first of all experiment a lot, just figuring out what works and what doesn't. And we also need to know what the people which bought it will then really want to do with the game. What do they want to see? Do they want to see just more weapons, or do they want to see more levels? Do they want to see more boss battles, whatever? Or do they really want to have the multiplayer? And when we get enough feedback, then we decide what to focus on next. And that's why we want to go early access, because we want to interact with those people which care about the game, what they really like about it, and what they want to see more of.
And actually, if you guys do want to get a hold of them and tell them your thoughts, their Discord is in the link. I know that's an easy way to get a hold of you guys, or at least leave it on there. But yeah, a lot of people, everyone on there actually says what they think, you know, they want added in. And a lot of times you guys add it. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good ideas.
You do listen. Yeah. It's hard, I'm sure.
The bubble rubber ducky was one of the community suggestions.
It started as a stupid idea, and someone wanted to have bubbles, so we added that.
That's awesome.
It is those little things, though. It's crazy. And people in chat too were asking, can you go between first and third person in game? And you can do it seamlessly. And I can let you guys explain it a little bit.
Yeah, please.
So, well, basically, it started as a full third-person game. Well, it initially started as not even a game. It was just an experiment where you had a puppet in front of you and you were interacting with it in some kind of God view. It started first as a fetching ball game where you threw a ball with your big hands, and then the puppet was getting in and bringing it back. And from that point on, we started, if we could do more interaction with that puppet? So then, what about incarnating it? So it came and it was interesting. Then you could walk around and the puppet was doing what you were doing. And then we got the idea, what if you attach the camera behind it and you can fully being that puppet all the time? And that's how basically Holoception is born. And initially, a third person, we thought, that's really cool. You can move around, you have a lot of freedom. But we got so many times the question, can you play first person? And at the beginning, we were really protective. We know Holoception is only third person because that's what the game works. That's what the game is about and how it works. And then we tried first person. And then we added fully, you can just zoom in and out with the joystick fully in a seamless way. And we saw, in first person, you can actually do some cool stuff you cannot do in third person. Moving around is, of course, you have a better overview of what you have around you when you fight. So third person is, of course, when you have an overview and you can see enemies around you, you have a huge advantage. But for aiming, after a while, you still have an easy time to aim in third person. But in first person, you see what's in front of you, you see your gun, you can aim, and you can easily switch between both modes all the time.
Yeah, and the main thing was we thought maybe if you have third person in the game, it would destroy the balance, or things would be too easy or impossible. But the interesting thing we saw when we actually tried it, that sometimes I go third person, then I go first person, I go back out to God view. I switch all the time, and all of it feels like it fits into the gameplay without one being better than the other. It depends on the situation. I have a lot of enemies coming at me, so I go third person that I don't get hit from the back. Then I have a few enemies coming from far away at me, so I quickly go first person, shoot from them from far away. So you seamlessly switch continuously, or at least I do that now that I'm a little bit experienced with the game. And also, I think for people which just get started with the game, that they can go first person to do the aiming is very helpful. So you don't have to be that good at aiming in third person in the beginning, and as more as you play, the better you get at being able to aim at your back, forward, backwards in third person, and can do those cool stunts which we show sometimes in the videos. And I think
it's almost two different games at a point. You can play it all first person. You can zoom out to be a follow camera, and a lot of people probably haven't seen this either, but you can actually go to a third person and then almost out to a platform. You can go out so far that you're looking down on the world almost instead of just third person, which is really cool because you're right. If they're coming from all angles and you have drones coming and everything, you can see all that from above. It's cool. Really crazy.
Definitely. So a couple people in chat are talking about a portal gun. Flexnix and Paradise Decay said portal gun, which should be a good idea. So
looks
not
like
sure if you've heard that
like
one
you've
yet.
Tried it.
We have many ideas for the future, and we can clearly state Portal is a game we like.
Yes.
So maybe for the future.
Sure.
No guarantee.
At least pull ideas from me.
Yeah. And also, a gaming science teacher mentioned something about the math that's involved. She is actually a science teacher. She said, show to all my students who say they want to be game devs but don't do their math homework, so that it is important to know that it's there is math involved in all of this kind of stuff for sure. So
quaternions are your friend and your worst enemy at the same time.
And geometry also helps a lot.
So. Geometry is very important. Programming skills as well.
And
of
math, course, everything related to physics.
Oh, yeah.
There is no way to go around if you want to go into 3D game development, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially in VR.
Yeah, math definitely helps. And especially it's also more fun if you can do, not just for the camera system, all of that needs math, but also for balancing and many other things. Often mathematical functions can give you a easy solution to be adaptable to multiple possibilities. So I wouldn't skip math class. It's it comes in handy, but I can fully understand that some people get frustrated doing their math homework. But if you're developing a game, it's way more fun to think about math because it's actually, you can do something with it, which is real somehow, although it's virtual. But you know what I mean? It's it gives you purpose and you see exactly why you need to understand those things.
For sure. So the big question, and we had plans to ask this question, and gaming science teacher just asked as well, and I'm sure you guys have probably heard this question, but what about Quest? What about Quest plans? Are there any plans for the Oculus Quest?
So not in the immediate future, that's for sure, because we want to focus on the PC build, because we want to make that as good as we can with a lot of new content added. So that's currently our focus. But we love the Quest as a platform because the accessibility, that you can take it anywhere with you, and the game in the graphics wise, we made it from initially that it could run on the Quest in terms of graphics and everything.
That would definitely not be the bottleneck in terms of porting into the Quest. We are just more worried about the physics. We want to feel it great, so we want to take our time before we fully decide we go for the Quest.
And we don't know if we can do exactly the same or if it would be something adapted with challenges a little bit different, less physics bodies, and maybe more enemies which use less kind of very computationally heavy physics bodies, things like that. But we love the platform, and at some point we definitely want to experiment with the Quest, but we really want to focus on Holoception on the PC first, and then we see where it goes.
Sounds good. And I know the Quest would be nice, that wireless aspect, because you can move a lot in this game sometimes. That is nice. But awesome.
And at least there's the Quest Link coming, right? So you can get the Quest and play it from PC. That's at least
true. You could.
Yeah, that's at least something.
Yeah.
So
it would be. Quest would be fun.
Yeah.
Really
so
would.
Paradise Decay said, what idea was the hardest for you guys to pull off?
You mean the hardest idea in the game, or the hardest idea to implement? I think we can say definitely the locomotion system, where we experimented so much to find that sweet spot that feels good, doesn't trigger too much motion sickness, I would say. Of course, it's all about different people are affected differently about that. But yeah, we saw that with Holoception. There is somehow many games do that actually. They use that cockpit mechanic where you always have something fixed in your field of view, and we saw that actually in Holoception that effect was more or less the same, because you have always that puppet in front of you, and you always look at that puppet, so your brain doesn't get too much confused by the environment moving around you. And anyway, you're zoomed out, so the environment also move like if you zoomed out 6 times, it moves 6 times slower than your puppet running, so that helped a lot. And then morphing that and adding room scale locomotion system, first person seamless transition. I think that was the most challenging thing we had for Holoception.
Yeah, I think the one point where it's hard for someone to understand which hasn't worked on it is the switching from third person to first person, and that it actually works is extremely hard. It sounds like, oh, it's simple, it's just like normal first person in a VR game like every other one, but due to all the math involved, it was actually taking us a little bit longer than expected to make it fully work.
Especially when we added the full room scale locomotion, because at the beginning the puppet was static and you had to say static in your room scale, so that was easier to have a fixed reference for the camera to rotate around. But after that we had it full room scale locomotion, so we had to do a lot of experiments and try different ways to do it, that it always and seamlessly zooms in and out, and basically always have the right reference, so it doesn't like move in a weird way, has weird accelerations, or does something that your brain doesn't expect to happen.
It's funny because everybody always comments about like they want something added in us, early too, would always say, hey, we want this, maybe could be adjusted this way and that, but the amount of work it takes to make one little adjustment like that is crazy, how much work it takes.
Yeah, sometimes it's some things are extremely easy to do and people think it would be hard, and then other things are extremely hard and they sound very easy. And so we always have, of course, to judge, like when we get suggestions, we always have to see, okay, how easy it is to do, how many people want it, and all of that. So we usually take all the calculations into account before we make a decision. Also, of course, what we really like what ideas we had planned already, and sometimes we get suggestions and we merge it with other ideas, right? That you get some kind of, you influence the decisions while listening to others, the feedback especially we get, and what feels good, what feels bad, and then usually come up with a solution which basically solves the problem, but maybe not directly in the way which it was suggested, but basically with the same end result.
Awesome.
Do you guys have anything in the think tank right now on the board that you guys are working on that's fun going in?
Yeah, we should not show any boards.
Well,
Okay, like let's say it that way. Like the day we submitted for release to the platforms, we were spending time discussing what else we could add while we were submitting it. So we have a really hard time to stop thinking about new stuff.
Sure.
And even really things which are not that easy to do, but just because we continuously think about new things we want to try. So yeah, there are a lot of things. Some things are already in the works where we think like to add into the future, but we don't want to say anything specific. We can just say maybe which movies we really like and what might inspire us. That could give a few hints, maybe.
I get it. Every time I go in, there's always something new that I'm like, holy, I can use this now or do this or that. Yeah. It's so much fun. Every time there's something different. I know now you'll have a final build and stuff that'll get pushed out. But I mean, for me, it's been how long? How long have we been playing this, Sean?
I don't know. It's been a while. I'm not even sure exactly.
I mean, it's 6 months now, maybe. I don't even. It's hard to even know. But yeah, every time there's something new. It's so much fun.
Yeah, you got it relatively early.
Yeah.
And yeah, we usually try to add something new all the time. And sometimes we don't even know that we're gonna add something new, and then suddenly so then in the morning during coffee breaks we like, let's do this. It's like, no. Yes, let's try.
Yeah. It's funny. They actually sent us over the ball pit video right before we went live. We talked about it before going on the show, and they sent us this literally right before we went live. So I know the ideas are often just come from all over the place. But so I don't think we've talked about it yet. Actually, the release date is planned for October 24th. Is that correct? 24th.
Yes,
and that is going to be the Oculus PC store as well as the Steam store. Not PlayStation VR yet, or is there any plans for?
We haven't worked on. We focus on the PC VR headsets for the moment.
That's what I thought. And then, are you guys ready to release the price or announce price or anything like that?
I think we can now announce it, but we always said like it would be below $30, and we finally settled on. You can say
we agreed on. And I think we have enough content to go for that, so we agreed on $24.99.
Yeah,
that's with the release date, pricing, and then we add more content, and it might go up in the future.
Right.
But I think we are at a good spot because there's like multiple levels. Like there's an epic boss battle which people hopefully will really much enjoy, where one of our team members worked really hard on to make that feel different every time you go in, where it's intelligent and moves around, has done a lot of work on the AI for that. And there's multiple levels. We have more than 15 weapons to unlock.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff, and we really think we are comfortable with the price point. That there's enough there that even though it's early access, there's a lot of time where you can spend in the game and enjoy it.
I don't even feel it's early access. I feel when we got to get our hands on it 6 months ago, it was early access. I feel now it's 100% full. So for somebody to sit here and say it's early access to me is crazy. But,
well, we mostly stated as early access because there is so much you want to add in the game.
So absolutely.
Once you get used to that locomotion system, you see how much more we can do. And we don't want to stop. There's just so much fun stuff which we have talked about so much, which we really want to try. Look at the Holo gloves, the gravity gloves, basically. Mm-hmm. That was thought of one day, and then we took 1 day where we have a day where you just do whatever you want. You just try to do something, whatever. It doesn't need to be, on the fixed roadmap. And then we had something which worked way better than we ever expected, and with all the physics working and not doing too many bugs and glitches after that. And we have talked a lot about so many interesting ideas which we just want to have in the game, but at some point we have to say, okay, we need also to check how the community feels about it. Do they really enjoy it? Do they master it? Because if you add more and more complex mechanics in that third-person view, and they struggle a lot to actually play it that way, then maybe we go just overboard with all the crazy ideas we still have. Yeah. And so we need to know, okay, do we have to add things which are maybe a little bit easier to use, or can we go full on, certain movie scenes style where things go more and more crazy?
We also definitely want to explore maybe more the sandbox aspect of the game, and maybe have some kind of less fighty but more interactive aspect for the game, maybe puzzle solving. We're not sure yet, but we want to explore everything we could potentially do with that new way of playing VR.
Yeah. Awesome. I feel this game has great potential for puzzle and little local games instead of more of a playthrough.
And
I think it really does.
Easter eggs are always fun.
We are a relatively small team, right? We are like seven people in Holonautic in total, but not everyone was always working on Holoception. So we have, even though we have thousands of ideas, we only have the time to implement a small selection of them. So we need to know what people want to see next, that we can focus on those things which people really want to have.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing with early access, a lot of people sometimes get worried about games going into early access because sometimes games go into early access and then nothing ever comes of them. They never get updated anymore. You know, they just kind of fall off the map. But I can guarantee this game won't be that way in early access. No. I know just from the time that we got to play, you know, until now, the stuff that's been added. I mean, I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of updates to this all the time. So that's definitely not something you have to worry about.
To me, it reminds me of hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades in the amount of like updates that get pushed out and the price range and the longevity of it and just the staple game that it is. It's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, we really like also that kind of like, you know, that you add more to the game. I really enjoy games where it gets constantly new stuff which change a little the experience up, and that you can experiment with new things. I really love that kind of concept, and just having like a game which is basically frozen in time and says, okay, that's it, and now nothing more gets added. It doesn't feel good to me as a game developer. I love if things are alive and they get more interesting and more awesome as time goes on. We really love that.
Even if you just go in and things are as simple as like, you know, we were just on the screen up there was like the boxes and the crates there. Even if you go in like and you play it next week and they're all in a different place, simple little things like that feel like that world is active, even though it's not, you know, it's crazy. But yeah, it does. And if somebody hasn't played this, please pick it up. You're only a couple days now. I feel bad for everybody. We've had our hands on it forever now, so I enjoy it all the time, but nobody else really has. So
I can't wait to get that. Left. See the final product.
I'm really excited to get it out there because it was so hard for us not to get it out there sooner because we so much want to have people play it, but we wanted to have it to a point where we feel comfortable that people will have a good time, right? That it's stable. We worked a lot on optimization during the last few weeks, making things as smooth as we could, that you know, the frame rate doesn't drop, that even if you have a lot of enemies, because we really wanted to have quite a few of them, that it works well, that the graphics we update a lot, that also with lower CPU capabilities that you can run smoothly, because it feels much better if you can run it really on a high frame rate.
So on Steam, what all headsets is this going to support? What all headsets will work with this game?
So we fully
Well, we tested out of the box. It supports the Vive and the Valve Index. On of course the Oculus Rift and the Rift S.
So those are the four primary ones. Windows mixed reality headsets we don't have, and so there we cannot say if it will fully work or not. That's why we don't officially support it, because we cannot test it. And the Vive Cosmos we don't have, so we cannot judge like what we need to do on our end to do that. We were in contact with them. We will see what we can do there. So we basically focused to have the index controls were really important to us because of the finger tracking, because you can do.
Yeah, and we should insist on that. We also, of course, we support the Vive ones. But
the Vive ones, of course,
we did our best to map the controls with the touchpad, but it wasn't easy because there is so much control you need to have for controlling Holoception that, of course, joysticks work a lot better. It of course
with the locomotion and the movement of joysticks.
It's harder on the Vive ones, but it works.
Awesome.
I know that was a hard thing for you guys in the early days of trying to get the controllers and stuff all working. We did have one question in chat from Paradise Decay is, how long of a playthrough do you think this is for somebody playing it first time, start to finish? Man, I would try and answer that,
because
but
it's such a sandbox
this game
too,
oh my gosh, I feel like it would be.
It's hard to say, because even for us, after playing for so long, we sometimes just like to go in, play. Even if you don't unlock new stuff, you just go in the simulator mode and you play, and you just want to actually make those epic stunts, go in slow motion, watch yourself do epic stuff. It's really hard to put a number.
It's really hard. We haven't measured anything like how much time it takes us, and we also added just a lot of new stuff just recently. So we haven't had enough people which aren't us like testing it and tell us how long it took them, because like
you can play it differently in so many ways. Like you can go in and just try and get out to build weapons. So I can go in and grab fragments and stuff, bring them out and try and build my weapons, or I can go in and try and get cash and stuff. And so you can stay in as long as you want and come back out to like your home base, let's call it. But yeah, I mean, it's the play styles all over the place.
It's a tough question to answer, and it's going
so
to keep
much
getting
gameplay.
updated. Yeah, as it gets updated, that's going to change too. So, have you guys thought about implementing some kind of virtual camera into the game, like a movable camera that you can put in different places to actually?
It's already in there.
Okay.
We have that.
Yeah, I didn't know that was in there.
We even added now. Basically, you can even switch between external camera can switch between like a normal camera perspective view or the isometric view. Basically, what you can see on the screen there.
Okay, nice.
Because it gives another perception of the game and. Because also one of the main point of the game is to also, because it's also fun to record yourself doing those epic stunts. So adding that external camera system was for us very important.
Yeah, because also the trailer and everything basically we recorded while playing the game.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
it's like we didn't do any other things than just like recording us playing the game.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what people do with this. I really can't wait to see it.
Man, yeah. Have you ever thought about doing like, could you do camera switches? So like, be overhead, and then when you go into slow-mo, go to like first person or vice versa, stuff like that to auto switch. I mean, that could be epic for recording. It'd be so easy.
We will definitely think deeper into that because we know that when you play, maybe if someone else is actually on the window on your computer screen, like switching the different camera, that would help. But if you can do that yourself or having a system of auto switch when you go in first person or into
external
God
camera,
view, that we could definitely explore further. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be so much. I know recording this stuff is so much fun. I loved in the early stages of me and Sean sending it back and forth and be like, check this out. Look what I just did. And I remember the one where we had the levels and stuff, and you get up there and all the drones and stuff and the people, and he's just running away, trying to stay away from him, and all the lasers on him and everything. We were streaming that.
I was gonna say, I think you were like my point man. You were like helping direct me where to go. Yeah,
I was Skyping with him. He was playing.
Yeah,
I'm
I was
like,
screen sharing.
Dude, run this way, grab this, go get this. They're coming for you.
That's awesome. Fun. So Paradise Decay said he would like an attack stick dog. So that would be pretty cool to have. That would be pretty cool. And Steve XM brought up LIV support, which that would be interesting with the way this game works. I don't know.
To replace the stick figure with your body, yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, that could be interesting. You might be able to do some interesting stuff with the LIV recording. Actually, I'm not sure, but
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure live support could get pretty tricky. That is kind of involved a little, and maybe they have some SDKs and stuff that they push out, I'm sure, too.
Yeah,
but
just with the way this switches between first person and third person, I'm not sure exactly how you would implement that. But, I mean, you could do some really cool stuff with it, too. I don't know. I'm not sure. That would be interesting. But
yeah.
So, do you have anything else, Tyler?
I don't think so. Do you guys have any other... Are you planning on working on any other games in the future, or just focusing on this right now?
Yes, we have one other game which is basically in development.
Sure.
Which we plan to probably launch soon into a beta phase where people can try it and give us feedback as well, like similar to the process where we have Holoception. But yeah, we're not fully ready to announce, but it will be very soon. First, we focus a little bit on the release of Holoception, and then soon after, if you join our Discord, we will then announce it there, or maybe on your show, who knows.
Awesome. I can't wait to see what that is going to be. I can't wait.
Yeah,
I know the ideas you guys come up with.
Right? That's basically what our studio is about. Like, we basically let anyone come up with ideas, what they would like to work on, and then you gather a few people, you work on a prototype, and then everyone basically criticizes what you did. If it's really good, and if it's good enough, then we invest more resources into it. So awesome. Everyone can at any point in time basically try to come up with an idea, and then we build prototypes. But that's the most important thing. In VR, you can, at least in our opinion, it's really hard to come up on pen and paper with a game concept and then think, okay, that's enough, let's start building it. I think you always should build a prototype because it's so new. You don't know how to do the mechanics, the interactions. Like, you guys played the very crummy build where we had the upgrading system of weapons with the UI, and it was really complicated, and we completely had to throw everything away. And so many mechanics actually we had to throw away just because we got inspired with what is already out there on the flat screen, and we wanted to port that experience to VR, and it just didn't work. It was too cumbersome. It would have been so easy on a flat screen, but in VR, it just didn't feel right. Yeah. So that's why we always build prototypes first. We just have the core mechanic, the core idea, build a prototype, and we try it out. And so we will have lots of different kind of experiences from our studio, which make it. And we don't have like only Holoception, so we work on other types of experiences. It doesn't need to be exactly the same. Like, we just iterate and see what we can do.
I think a lot of people were complimenting you on that in chat too, that you guys do kind of have a think tank style of development, which it leads to innovation. And that's, we don't see that as much anymore. It's kind of on tracks. You come up with this plan and just work through it.
Usually just jump in, you want to play for like half an hour and then you want to stop. A very long experience. Usually you need to cut it in multiple pieces to make it, because
that was important for us, that you can go into Holoception like for 5-10 minutes and have a good experience. Not that you need to wait for a long time to just like get started, and then like you need to reserve like an hour at least that you can play, because we know everyone is busy, and we really want to have something where you can also just have a quick experience, or if you want to go full on, you can have long recording sessions and then all of that. So that is really important to us, because it can be tiring in VR if you stand there, listen to dialogue for a long time. And that we wanted to avoid. That it's like, as you start the game, you're immediately in the action. You can directly do things. That's important for us personally, because we just have that feeling that VR should be all about you interacting and getting active right away.
I like that the new tutorial too in the beginning of the game is quick. Like you get in, you learn the basis, and then it's not that it's throwing you in like figure it out on your own, but that's the fun of the game. You go in and you figure it out on your own, and you're like, I can do this, and
you're constantly learning. Like even you guys said, you're constantly learning new things that are possible and things that can happen through chain reaction and everything else. So that is awesome.
Yeah, we struggle a lot with making a tutorial that it's not like to explaining everything, because we like the aspect that you go in and then maybe you discover new things as you go along. We just want to have the minimum set of things explained that you can get started and you don't get blocked. But once that is done, then we basically throw you into the cold water, and then you can see what works and what doesn't on your own.
Awesome. So real quick, Jarillo asked, should we play this game seated or standing? I've only ever played standing. I don't know if you guys have tried sitting at all.
Both works technically.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
We have a calibrate the calibration system we have can adapt to seated positions, right? You go into the calibrator just seated, and the puppet will adapt to that.
Awesome.
But it's of course like if you have a baseball bat and you sit on a chair, it's something you try to do the matrix avoidance moves on the chair. I think it will be harder. Like you cannot duck as easily to avoid stuff. So play any way you want, right? You can play the game seated if you want, but from our experience, we like to play it most like standing up. Just because you have more ways to hit stuff around and move left and right and avoid hits and make the right moves, but play as you like.
So have you guys played anything now, just before we finish, other than Holoception? Like, do you guys ever go into and just play something new, in the VR world, like a new game or anything that you guys enjoy?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we try to experiment with at least all games which come out, which we can get our hands on. Because like we always want to learn, right? What did other people do? How do they do it? Maybe we can learn something new from everyone else, because the whole industry is learning to do new things, and you find cool mechanics everywhere in every game which you play.
Yeah, that's the cool thing also about VR. There is no golden standard. So as soon as you have a new game coming with a new mechanics or a new way to do stuff, we want to try to see, that's actually cool.
Yeah, we don't have much time to like play through, right? Like hours and hours of play. We usually go for quick experience. Okay, what can we learn from there? And then we have to go back to fully work on Holoception. But yeah, the beginning we started with Spice Pirate Trainer, right? We started with Beat Saber, evidently, and all of that. And those are still like we both enjoy like those like games which you go quickly in and you can do stuff, and especially where you're physically very active, and slice stuff, etc. Like we're of course more into the combat action-y types of games.
Yeah, that's cool.
More than anything else at the moment. But yeah, sometimes you have a nice experience like the Richie's Plant experience you guys mentioned. That we can see the value of that. If someone new coming into VR, if you put them into action games, they might be a little bit scared. That's just too much going on. So any experience is very valuable. So we like everything more or less, right? We have maybe our personal preference, but we try to get everything in there to see what's out there, what we could basically learn from. And we constantly switch.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's kind of how we are too. We enjoy everything, and we really love Holoception. We do really appreciate the work you guys put into it. We do just want to reach out and thank you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Because actually, it is great.
Paradise Decay said in chat, a big thanks to the devs from the community for VR innovating. We had people clapping in chat.
I agree.
So definitely we appreciate it. This is the kind of stuff that VR needs. I mean, it's such a young, new technology that people really need to be innovating and see what works, see what doesn't work, see what's fun, what's not fun, like you guys talked about. So definitely appreciate it. We're really really looking forward to the launch, which is on October 24th, and we can't wait to see how the community what they think of it. I can't wait to see the videos people come up with. It's gonna be awesome. So
yeah. Thank you, Roger, Dennys. And when you guys want to come back and talk about your game that's in the chamber, we'd love to have you back on too.
Yeah, sure. And keep us updated on updates and everything. We'll be sure to let everybody know new stuff coming out.
Of course we will.
So we definitely appreciate having you on, and we will see you guys soon, and we will be in Holoception soon. So thanks a lot.
Exactly. As will everyone else. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
See ya.
See ya. Awesome. So nice to have them on. It was nice that they could
so
come
good,
on.
man.
Yeah.
I know. It's such a good game. Like, I just can't wait for everyone else to get to play it.
I know.
That's what I'm excited for. But yeah, I mean, we got a couple days. Let's see. What is that?
24th. I think that's
25 days.
5 days away. Yeah, not long at all.
That's awesome. That's really cool. So next weekend, everyone's going to be playing it. Yeah, and the video. That's why I would love that camera switch too on the video, because it's so epic. Like, it is one you want to capture and share and show people.
It is. I really think there's going to be some awesome footage,
so cool.
Some awesome videos people making this. So that is one thing I'm super excited to see.
Everybody try the leg sweep when you get to play. It's so good with the bat.
It's so rewarding. It's so rewarding.
It's so fun to be able to like leg sweep them and get them in the air and then smack them back down. It's so much fun.
Definitely. Well, this is kind of a long episode today. We went a little while, so it was a good one though. We definitely appreciate them being on. We super appreciate everybody being in chat. We really appreciate the super chat before we even started the show today. That was really awesome. Really appreciate that. So
I'm glad you're joining us live and stuff.
Yeah, we love the people getting involved in chat. We try to read it all. We appreciate the thumbs up and the new subscribers. We had a couple new subscribers today that popped up too. And so if we forgot to mention that when it popped up, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt people and stuff. So, but we definitely appreciate it. So it looks like Alex VR is just joining us. He's a little late to the party, but
man, I know. We'd run this show all day if we could. But it's hard.
For sure. So, but we definitely, if you are catching it late or after the fact, make sure you watch the interview with the developers. And after this game comes out, be sure to leave some comments and stuff. Let us know what you guys think of the game. I'm really looking forward to the people that haven't got to try this yet. I know there are some beta testers and stuff in here, so we definitely.
And it's a really cool game for something different too, because right now the trend is, we have some kind of themes going on for games that are all the same. So if you want
I think when VR
first
first came out, it was all about the first-person shooter games and stuff. Now it's starting to be a lot about the rhythm and music games and stuff like that. It's pretty big right now, but yeah, they really do something different. I mean, this is something that is completely different from any other game, and we do have some other footage on our channel that you can go back and watch and stuff of us playing it in the earlier days and stuff. But it has really come a long way. I mean, I can't wait to get back in there. Like I said, I tried to this morning before going live. I didn't have a chance, but I do want to try to get in there this weekend. So it's awesome.
Oh yeah,
awesome.
I had a ton of fun in it the other night. You're definitely. I know, in the new build it's even better. So
I haven't even went into the newer build yet, so I can't wait to do that. So
I know.
Yeah, but I think that's all we got for today then, right?
Yep, I think so. Yeah, and if you guys haven't subscribed yet, please do. We try and bring you guys everything new that's going on in VR, as well as dev interviews, as you can see. You can hit the like button if you liked it. And I think that's all we got for you today, guys.
Yep, and we will see you next weekend, same time, I believe, and same location.
Yep, appreciate you guys being here. We'll see you back here, or see you in VR, and we will play that music after this as long as we're set up right. I know everyone was worried we weren't going to play it last time, so
all right,
we're going to try and roll that for you.
We will see you later. Thanks
guys.
a lot. Thanks for being here.
See you.